the exception of Bill O'Neill in the last campaign, I mean, these races are dreadfully dull. I mean, as far as like, if I ask you a question about an issue, like if I said, what do you think of the state's school funding model? Bill O'Neill would come out and say, and I think I've heard him say, unconstitutional. And I'm going to do everything I can if I get elected to do something about that. What kind of, I mean, I don't want to just spout issues at you. Are you going to give me the standard, every case is different, I need to decide them on the merits, or do you have strong opinions about issues like school funding or those kinds of things?
On that particular issue, I think our Supreme Court has said the current system is unconstitutional. But they ultimately relinquished jurisdiction because, as I understand it, they really couldn't do anything about it. So, just to, that's the one that you mentioned in passing. I take the position taken by Chancellor Leo Strine of the Delaware Court of Chancery, who was just nominated to be the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court in Delaware. The way he puts it is a judge or a justice has to stay in his lane. And he has said, and I agree with this, that he certainly has viewpoints on what you might call hot-button issues or issues generally. But when you take the oath of office, you are constrained to applying the law to the facts. And ordinarily, you know, not every case in the Supreme Court involves a constitutional issue, but let's stick with the constitutional issues for now. You're constrained by the Constitution in deciding whether what you're considering is or is not constitutional. So, let's take the death penalty, for example.
That's my next question. So,
putting aside one's personal views on the death penalty, right now, the law is that it is constitutional as enacted. There is an argument that it is unconstitutional as applied. I am open to persuasion on either side. I'm not sure that the Supreme Court of Ohio has a case pending where that issue has to be decided, that question has to be decided. You can see, though, where if it isn't currently pending, it can come up relatively easily. Just this last week, as I recall, a prisoner was executed by a mode that his lawyers or his family's lawyers consider unconstitutional. As I recall, though, and again on that particular issue, I think that has been filed as a federal lawsuit, and ordinarily, not always, because this is certainly within the Ohio Supreme Court's purview, but ordinarily those issues are more frequently, the issue of the ultimate constitutionality of the death penalty is more frequently litigated in federal court.
Mm-hmm. There are, I think, at least two current sitting justices who, I think I'm not mistaken, have stated they oppose the death penalty.
Right.
Do you have an opinion? Do you oppose the death penalty? I mean, I understand that you can be persuaded, but do you have a specific opinion on that issue that you're willing to share publicly?
I don't think the death penalty has served its purpose. So putting aside whether I do or don't oppose it on moral grounds, I think as a practical matter, it has been a failure, and I think the public can be persuaded by the right people that it is a failure in terms of its intended effect and the cost to achieve that intended effect. But that is not a Supreme Court justice's job to persuade that it's bad policy, putting aside any moral objections. A Supreme Court justice's job when these things come up is to determine either in a given case whether it was applied constitutionally or as a general matter whether it's being applied constitutionally. Is that a long way of saying I'm really going to dodge the ultimate question that you're asking?